Men with disabilities are nearly 4 times more likely to experience sexual abuse than their typically developing peers.
Are we talking by other men or women? Because if so, I'm jealous. Wait, I didn't say that.
Nearly 14% of men with disabilities indicated they had experienced some type of sexual violence in their lifetime, compared to less than 4% of men without disabilities. Meanwhile, almost 27% of women with disabilities and about 12% of typically developing women reported experiencing sexual abuse.
Explain to me what typically developing means.
Normal.
So is that their PC way of saying non-crippled?
Yes. Researchers found that men with disabilities face sexual abuse from a variety of perpetrators, including family members, acquaintances, strangers, intimate partners, and dates.
I've never been a victim of this. I know no one who has been a victim of this. I would like to know where they get their studies from.
A 2005 survey of nearly 22,000 non-institutionalized adults who were asked about unwanted sexual contact.
Non-institutionalized. All right. So is that? Yeah, I'm in that type of mood.
Okay.
Is that how they're qualifying disabled people now? Institutionalized and non-institutionalized? Is
I,
that the only two categories we have?
I think that is the standard for which we are using now.
I mean, when people are victims of these types of things, they don't actually talk about them. So maybe I do know people,
Right.
but I don't know. Although maybe that would explain a lot about who you are and why you are who you are.
Monica Mitra of the University of Massachusetts Medical School led the study and said the most notable finding is that the prevalence of lifetime sexual violence, completed rape, and attempted rape against men with disabilities was comparable to that against women without disabilities. Well, certainly you've never been approached or sexually assaulted by anybody.
None that I will tell outside of the confines of a psychologist's office. I
Right.
mean, no, never. No,
So,
honestly, like I said, this number is staggering to me because if it's comparable to that of female victims of the able-bodied persuasion
right.
here in America, you think I would know somebody who this has happened to, or someone who, I mean, I very well may know someone, but someone who was open about it, and it's shocking to me because I've never heard of anything like this in 30 years.
The survey seems a little broad.
Okay.
Individuals were considered to have a disability if they reported having a physical, mental, or emotional problem, as well as certain health problems that limited their activities for at least 1 year.
Well, then that makes sense because a lot of people out there do take advantage of the mentally and emotionally handicapped people.
Yes.
So, if you do broaden it to that, I can, I guess, understand these findings a little bit better. Although I still find the numbers astronomically staggering. And you were just telling me um, about another study that you read earlier, how the crime rate against people with disabilities has nearly doubled, while the rest of the population has actually gone down.
Yes.
How crazy is that? That's bullshit, I think.
Yeah, violent crime declined significantly in 2010. People with disabilities continued to be victims almost twice as often as those without special needs.
Ridiculous.
Findings come from an annual report released Thursday by the U.S. Department of Justice's Bureau of Justice of Statistics.
Try saying that 3 times fast.
Yeah,
Just say it once fast.
showing that Americans with disabilities aged 12 and older experienced more than 567,000 non-fatal crimes like rape, robbery, and assault in 2010.
I mean, I don't know, KB. You were raised in the suburban life, so I don't know if you can speak on it as well as I can. Growing up in the hood,
Mm-hmm.
as people would say, and I didn't necessarily live in the best areas. Where I lived when I last left Philly was pretty nice, at least nice enough where KB felt safe most of the time.
Most of the time, minus the gunshots every now and then.
Whatever. Hey, people celebrate in their own ways. Whatever. Let them have their fun. But I've never been approached in a way that I felt I was going to be threatened. I mean, yeah, I've had some schoolyard fights and things like that, but I've never been, hey, give me your money. No, nothing like that. I'm just gonna hit you for hate crime purposes.
Right.
None of that type of stuff. So my hold on, sorry.
Okay.
My whole perception, at least until I read this, was that as bad as criminals are, most of them can't even get low enough to harm a cripple, and that's usually my or has been my take on it. Apparently, I've been more sheltered than I thought.
Yeah, and I mean, I've never experienced an attack of any sort other than ones from you.
That wasn't an attack. That was an attempted rape. I mean, let's move on.
But I mean, I can personally say that I've felt that being disabled, I felt that I was at a higher risk.
Really?
I mean, not that I ever have been,
Hmm.
but I felt that because of my disability, right, because of being on crutches, I was more of a target because I would have less of a chance of running away or fending for myself.
With that part, I can certainly understand. Like when there's a crowd fighting around, yes, I certainly feel more threatened that I'm gonna get caught in the melee. But and for people in the Philadelphia area, you'll understand what I mean, and I'll explain more to those who are not from the Philadelphia area. I've pushed at 2, 3 in the morning in both North Philly and Southwest Philly, which are uh, usually two of the more unsafe, poor, and crime-ridden neighborhoods in Philadelphia.
West Philadelphia, born and raised.
No, so I'm talking Southwest Philly. That's even worse. I've been approached. Hey, do you want to buy some drugs? You want me to heal your pain, type of shit. But no one's ever with drugs, of course.
Okay.
But no one's ever tried to harm me. And like I said, these numbers are really surprising. Both of these studies are really surprising to me, and I don't know if it's just because I have an aura since I grew up in areas like that I'm confident and I should be there,
Hmm.
and maybe that's why I haven't been targeted, or maybe the murder rate in Philadelphia the past 10 years is actually not conducive to the mindset of the criminals against disabled people in Philly. I don't know.
Maybe, but
It's weird to me.
yeah, among those with disabilities who experienced crime, about 17% said they believed their disability was the reason they were targeted.
Yes, if you're going to commit a crime of opportunity, as they say, robberies, attempted rapes, things like that, the disabled person definitely would be a bigger target because they can't really run away or get away quickly or fend off, whatever the case may be. So I understand that, but just knock on wood, never being a victim of it myself, or even close to being a victim of any of that. And considering you've seen KB where I grew up, it's surprising to me
It
that these
is.
numbers are that high.
Yeah, it is. Individuals with cognitive disabilities were most likely to experience crime as compared to those with other types of disabilities.
Which again makes sense.
Women in this population were also slightly more likely than men to be victimized. What's more, the report found that people with disabilities were more likely than their typically developing peers to know their attacker. Again, it's the typically developing. For
Is that the new term?
I think that is the new term. If you have some sort of cognitive disability or whatnot, you probably have an aide with you.
Not all the time, unfortunately. That's not how it is. There are a lot of people, and I'm going to use it as an example. People with Down syndrome, for instance,
Hmm.
a lot of them, and it's a bad reference, but it's the only thing I can think of. A lot of them are mentally with it enough, like the kid from Life Goes On, Quirky.
Obladi oblada.
Life goes on, brah. To live on their own, to have their own job, I mean, with some minor, probably minor help, maybe getting their bills paid and things like that. But they live on their own. They work. I have a few people who take the bus with me, not the short bus, the regular city bus. Thank you very much. Who definitely have one has Down syndrome and the other one I don't know exactly what you would describe his disability, but he definitely has some cognitive issues. But he's going to work every single day and doing their own thing.
Hmm.
So, not necessarily all cognitively impaired people have AIDS. I think that's a misconception.
Right. Just protect yourself. It's a different place we live today, and you need to carry some sort of protection with you, whether
Who's
it's
got the rubbers?
whether it's a stun gun or mace or a
Oh,
gun.
that type of protection.
Yeah, that type of protection. I mean, you can carry the other protection too, because apparently you're going to be sexually assaulted.
Yeah, apparently so.
So
Uh, Again, in closing, just since these numbers are out there, and you know that everything the media portrays is true,
exactly.
just watch your back if you're a gimp, or even if you're not. I mean, over 500,000 serious violent crimes is still a shitload. So
It is.
be be cautious. And until next time.
Keep on rolling.